Greetings, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Dreamscapes. Today, we are very fortunate to have a friend from Botswana, Africa. We have Boniswa here. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
I love talking to people from all over the world. You know what this really proved? We were talking a moment ago that this is bringing the world together. One thing human beings around the world of all kinds share, we dream. We all have dreams. That's common to the human condition. So
common ground.
Yeah, if nothing else, that can bring us together. So that's fantastic. I'm very happy you were able to join us here today. So as per my usual process, I'm just going to shut up and Boniswa's going to tell us her dream, and then we'll try and figure it out. So I'm ready when you are.
Okay. So 2 weeks ago, exactly, it was a Saturday night, early Sunday morning, because I woke up at 5 o'clock, I remember. But I was in my it was a house, but not a house, like a house and a flat. And it was a house and then it turned into a flat, right? And then within the flat there were people going upstairs. And the stairs resembled like my grandparents' old flat. And as they were going up the stairs, I grew up very afraid of heights, and I just got that fear like I used to have as a child every time going upstairs. And then I went downstairs, and then when I went downstairs, it looked like our old college dorms, like the rooms downstairs. That's why I said it was like a house and a flat, because when I looked at it, it was a house, but then going inside, it was just like the college room flats. You know what I mean? And then I went into the first room on the door, and there was a girl. I don't remember if it was my sister or a friend of mine, but then she kind of fell off the bed, and then I picked her up and I put her back on the bed. And then I went out, and there was like a courtyard. And as I looked out, I didn't step out of the building, but I was just looking through like the door, like a screen door. And then I saw like 4 cub leopards, and they're just coming in one after the other. And then the female, like their mom, she came through, and then they were just there, and I was just staring at them, and I wasn't afraid or anything. I was like kind of curious. And then I woke up because some woman next door was screaming. I don't know, her phone was being stolen or something. And it was just like, you know, when you have that dream and you feel like it means something, but you're not sure. And you're like, kind of like, what is this? And then I woke up. So it was a really short dream. But what nags me about it is, I think, the leopards. Because growing up, I'm one person who used to have like dreams about animals like elephants and lions and things like that. And the leopard is one animal that has been consistent throughout my 20s and now 30s, randomly appearing in my dreams. And so I'm just like, what does it mean? You know, what does it symbolize? So that's just a pretty short dream.
Yeah, definitely. Not bad at all. Let's go, just make a note here, 3 minutes 47 in. Okay, so as per my usual process, like I was saying, we take that initial description and we're going to go back through it kind of chronologically. First things first, of course. So you said this was about, here's the problem with writing so fast, I can't read my own chicken scratch. About 2 weeks ago, Saturday night, Sunday morning. So this was over a weekend. Do you typically work like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type of thing? So weekends are your time off? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Just a point of reference there. So you mentioned seeing the house from the outside, but the first thing you said is that you were in a house. So the first thing you actually remember in the dream was being outside and seeing a structure, a house?
Now that I think about it, I don't know whether I saw it or I sensed it, because I do remember being inside.
Okay. And a very interesting thing about dreams is, since this is all imaginary, this is not actually light reflecting off of a structure and bouncing back into your eyeballs and sending nerve signals to your brain. It's not a physical object. So the being imaginary, the idea of seeing something and knowing something are equivalent. It's the kind of the same difference. If you know something, it's as real as if you see it in your dream, because it's all imaginary in that sense. It's all a vision inside the mind. But it is, I would say, and this is what I start doing. I start making little notes, and just to prime your brain for eventually the idea that you would have the experience of knowing that it was a house, but on the inside it was a flat. That distinction is going to have some connection to something that perhaps that something looks one way on the outside, but when you experience it from the inside, there's a different experience of it. There's something going on with that. So just in the very first imagery, we've got something to look at right there.
You just gave me a moment. I just had an aha moment.
Oh yeah? What do you got? Let's do it.
Yeah, when you speak about things on the inside and the outside, it's like I just told you that I shifted jobs. Mm-hmm. And when you start a job, you have an expectation that this is probably the way it's going to turn out. But then when you're in it, you realize that, whoa, this is something totally different from maybe what was advertised.
Sure. And that the real experience of something, anything, is always going to be, to some degree, different from our idea of it before we start. It's either going to be different than we imagine, or more than we imagine, or sometimes less than we imagine, but different in some manner. That's a great thing. I mean, this is what just happened to you. Is number one, I love it. I got chills when you're like, oh wow. I love that moment. I do. And that, yes, but that's because what I'm trying to do is find those moments for you, find an opportunity to let you or any of my guests have those moments, because that's where the real meaning is. The meaning's not in my head. The meaning's not out there in the world. It's not in a book. It's in these connections that suddenly make sense to you. So that's something we're going to want to come back to. For sure. So not to, not to sidetrack you but that's exactly the note I made there too. It's also interesting. And just to speak on that a little bit more is the difference you're maybe noticing in the real world. The idea you're processing is then going to be related to the idea that, there was reference to your grandparents and a childhood fear of heights on stairs. So there's going to be some other connections, like, what am I trying to say? What the stairs mean in the dream will be connected to a feeling perhaps about your grandparents, or something from that childhood past that's now being referenced in that visual imagery. So this is where I start, putting these things together too. So I made another note with that. But getting back to the actual imagery in the dream, you had a sense of, this is on the outside a house, but on the inside it is a flat. So where did you appear in the dream? What were you first aware of as your immediate surroundings?
I think I first appeared, now that I think about it, like a corridor. It was like a corridor within the house. And like I said, there were people and they were going up the stairs. And so I was in the corridor, and then I was trying to follow the people up the stairs.
So you first became aware of being in a corridor, like a hallway, and there's a set of stairs, and there's other people, and they're going ahead of you up the stairs.
Yeah. And they're like, most of them were really already at the top. Look at me pointing up there.
Yeah.
And I was like looking, I remember like being at the bottom and looking up at them and thinking, I'm not going up there,
Okay, and that's
like I even like I think I went up a few of the stairs, and then my legs started shaking. That brought back the childhood fear, because that used to happen to me all the time when I was supposed to go up the stairs. I would just be so scared, and then I'd just go back down.
Do you remember how many people there were, or if they were specific people, what they looked like?
No, they were just a lot of people. You know where you have like a lot of people just going upstairs? I couldn't make out individual faces.
So you had that experience that it was so many people you couldn't even really count them? It was a long line and they were all filing up?
Yeah, but I don't think it was more than 100.
Okay. It wasn't a million, it wasn't 1,000, but definitely less than 100. It's good. That's still a lot of people for the stairway in a flat. That's crowded. It's pretty crowded.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right here too, I mean, I think each of these elements is so important. And again, just to prime your brain a little bit, we've got this pathway, and usually, so we've got stairs, and without getting too dream dictionary about it, there's common human experiences of climbing, like the ladder of success, climbing stairs one step at a time to reach a higher place, higher accomplishments, higher understanding. There's iconic representation of stairs or moving vertically in our mind about that kind of stuff. So you've got other people ahead of you, many of them, getting to this higher place, so to speak, before you, and you start to step on that path. You start to take yourself to this higher place, and immediately this old childhood fear comes back of and so maybe just to not for sure, just a possibility, a self-doubt type of thing, a fear of failure, maybe, like if I go on this path and something bad might happen to me. So it brought back that fear of falling from a height from your childhood. Is something you getting a feeling?
You're just striking my soul.
Oh, good. Tell me what you're thinking. How's this?
You're just really striking my soul, because I've had people say to me, even this week, someone would be like, "Why are you so smart?" And someone would be like, "Shouldn't you have a car?" Because I don't have a car, I don't have a house. And people tend to see things that I don't have or own. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. And then there are quite a number of things that I'm trying to do, but I'm not sure is this gonna work. You know what I mean? And because I said before, I was a teacher, so I'm a French teacher by training. So I'm actually right now trying to get like resources done and publish them and get them out there. But then there is that, like, can I really do this? I'm just a chick from Africa and Botswana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you talk about self-doubt, that's just like,
that struck a chord. That really had some meaning for you.
Yeah.
Very nice. And some of this, like you said at the very end, that you had that you woke up, or that you were experiencing a feeling that this means something. This is important. That feeling stuck with you after you woke up. So part of what we're doing is trying to recapture that feeling during this discussion. If you can get back to that place, then that's what the dream was moving you towards. Understanding is where that sense of meaning exists. So this is good. This is fantastic. What I made some notes, and we can come back to it too. We're still in phase 2. We're actually getting into some of the interpretation. It happens. But you had this expression that other people are looking at you as someone with more potential, greater possibilities than you're currently expressing, that they see you as someone capable of more than you currently display. Yeah. And that's very good too. And that's definitely something you would be processing in your sleep through this dream imagery, trying to make sense of or understand what they mean by that, and whether you want what form of potential you want to display. And that's usually the most important question we can ask ourselves. If we got this wide open world and we can do anything, okay, wait a minute, what do I want to do? And that's where a lot of people get stuck. They so many paths. We call it there's a
I'm just that person who wants to do everything, and
right?
I probably could, but I just need to take one piece at a time and get one thing done first.
For sure. Yeah, that's why I was going to go to the philosophical principle of what they call the tyranny of choice. When you have so many options, you are forced to then choose among them or make the decision not to make a choice, which is its own kind of choice. Anyway, so that's just a concept to throw out there. Okay, and we're still at the bottom of the stairs. This is good stuff. So you also had so you've got different periods of your life are being expressed here. And all of these emotions and ideas are coming back to you standing at the bottom of these stairs. The idea that it reminds you the stairs look like from your grandparents' place. It brings back that kind of childhood fear of heights. And then also that the building itself on the inside kind of reminded you of your old college dorms.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably connected to, and you let me know if this makes sense to you. I'm just throwing out ideas, not definite answers, but college is a place of learning new things, but also discovering what we don't know and filling ourselves up with new information, new experiences. It's a place of transformation as well. You go from someone who doesn't know something to someone who now does know and has skills. So it's taking you back to these kind of iconic places in your life where you've experienced transitions and different periods of growth, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Do you have any additional thoughts?
It makes a lot of sense. Because I think at the back of my mind, I'm like, the moment I can get enough money, I am going to enroll for my master's because I want to do community development because of the shift. Yeah. I'm working more in the communities and stuff like that. And my job is only timed with the elections. I mean, if he doesn't win the next round, then I need to find something else to do. So I think at the back of my mind, I have that gnawing feeling that I need to do my master's. I've been putting this off for over 10 years now. Yeah.
And so these are all things that you knew and understood 2 weeks ago when the dream happened. All of these things this is not a new development. These are concerns that have been on your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll come up in the dreams too. So what you said was that you started to go up the stairs, but then you went back down, like you didn't actually climb to the second floor. So in your dream, you had that moment of fear and hesitation. You're like, I'm just gonna go back down. I'm not gonna take this path right now. And that's when you moved to how did you go? Like, if you could describe what you saw or what you experienced moving from the stairs to the screen door by the courtyard.
I went from the stairs, and then I don't know if there were rooms, but I know that there was that one door on, I think it was on the left.
That's right. You had a friend on the bed first.
Yeah.
I forgot that part. Thank you.
I went into that room because the light was on, and I think it was my room, and she was either my friend or my sister or my roommate. But then she was like on the floor. And then I'm like, okay, why are you on the floor? And then I picked her up, and it's like she was sleeping. And I picked her up, and I put her back in the bed, and then I went to the screen door.
Okay. I want to focus on that part a little bit too. So you moved through the flat, and maybe there was you're definitely experiencing the idea that the light was on in the room and that this drew your attention to this space.
Yes.
And that's so there's a light on, and you look in. I don't know which you look, left or right, but it doesn't matter. Maybe it does matter. But
I think it was on the left.
Okay, fair enough. And can you describe a little bit of you said it was your room, perhaps?
Yeah, I think.
What made you understand that it was your room? Was it something you saw, furniture arrangement? Was it just a knowing? Either way is fine.
It wasn't really the furniture, because it was like the whole college thing. I used to stay in a room right by the door of the exit, so I just figured that, okay, I guess that's my room.
Okay.
There. And the beds, because when you're in the dormitories, there are like two beds, one on this side, one on the other side.
Yeah.
And the doors open, so I figured, okay, that's my room.
Sure. And then which bed was the woman on? Left or right? Do you remember?
She was on the one, because I went in on the left. That means, so she was on the right.
And is that where your bunk was in college, or was yours the opposite?
Mine was on the left. So it was on the left.
Okay. It might have been. I had a feeling it might have been your bed, but maybe it wasn't, and that might be equally significant.
I can't say for sure.
That's okay. Yeah, you either know or you don't. I always tell people too, and if anyone's out there watching, you can't do this wrong. You just tell me what you saw. You see it. You didn't see it. It is what it is. I haven't mentioned this in a while. I do something I call rattling doorknobs. They come open. They don't come open. We move down to the next door. It's perfectly fine. Yeah. But literally, you cannot do this wrong. So it's all about having fun and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So the experience you had of this woman was that she felt or looked like either your sister or a friend. And how did you have that experience of her? Was it just, again, a knowing, or were there features that stood out to you? Appearance, face, hair, clothing?
I think it was more of a knowing. I'm not sure about the features, because my sister's lighter than me in complexion. I know the woman was lighter, but I think it was just more of a knowing.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put a little carrot here and come back to it too. So there's this idea of it is distinctly not you. It is someone else. It's not a person on your bed. It's the opposite bed. It is someone close to you in a manner of someone as close as a sister, as a roommate, as a friend. All of these ideas of that person are all together. And when you saw them initially, they were sitting on the bed and fell, or you came into the room, they were already on the floor and you just knew they had fallen from the bed?
Oh, she was already on the floor.
Okay.
I think she was already on the... No, wait. Because as I went in, she fell off. Because they were sleeping and then she fell off. Because I remember seeing them fall off and then putting them back on. And we didn't talk. It was just...
Did she wake up when she fell, or did she stay asleep and you just lifted her back?
She stayed asleep. Yeah.
That's an interesting experience too. So you've got this person who is meaningful to you. It's not a stranger. It's someone close in an emotional, connected way. They are asleep. They are unaware of their immediate surroundings, and an accident or negative situation happens. They fall from the bed where they're comfortable. They slide out, and there's something about you entering the room that triggers that in your mind. The next thing that happens is fall from the bed. But what you do is you fix it. You help them, helping other people. You pick her up and put her back into the bed. Did you have another moment? What do you got? What are you thinking?
I help people every day.
You do? That's your experience of your life, is helping people? Do you help people that sometimes don't know they need help? They're not aware of their surroundings, and they...
People tend to come to me now. I think earlier in my life, I used to like to go out to people, and then I realized that you can't help people who don't want to be helped. So then I left my job, which was paying way more than what I'm getting now, to help people.
Wow. So this is a very important idea in your life in general, important to your idea of yourself and what makes you feel good in the world.
I've just literally branded myself a dream chaser, and I just help people. I don't sometimes it's just even saying hi or how are you, or just having a conversation with a random person and just making them smile or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I would like now at the office, it's like, because people would come in, hey, this is not going right, we don't have water here, or this person is doing this, and then I'd get to the bottom of that, or someone's complaining about a service, and then I'll do that, and then, but over and above, before that, I just like to help people.
Yeah.
And not get anything out of it. But then, of late, I'm like, is it healthy for me to do that, you know?
So
But
within
anyway, let's not get sidetracked.
within the time frame of this dream, you were maybe starting to have concerns about the best way to be helpful. And number one, that it's very true. You cannot help people that refuse. That you can offer and they're going to accept or they're not. And you don't want to beat your head against a brick wall. Okay, thank you, no thank you. I will move on to someone that wants my help. And that's a very important self-empowerment type of thing to say, I'm not going to waste my time. My time is more valuable than that. I'm not going to fight someone to make them understand they need me. So that's very, very healthy psychologically. But then also,
Wait, sorry.
Go ahead, please.
What you just said, I'm not gonna force someone or make someone see that they need me. 2 days ago, I actually had an argument with a friend of mine, and because they blocked me on their WhatsApps and whatnot, and so I sent an email, why are you blocking me? And then he says, because you're toxic. And I'm like, I'm toxic? What do you mean I'm toxic? I just tell you the truth. And he's like, well, that's being toxic.
Huh.
And then I'm like, okay, fine. And then he goes on about how how he's not a guinea pig, and I should go try my nonsense somewhere else, and on and on. I'm like, you're pushing away the closest people to you.
Yeah.
Why? And I'm like, oh well.
That's
bye.
Yeah. Just gonna grab my water here.
Yeah.
That is interesting because so what do we do in our life when we're trying to understand the world and ourselves is we get a lot of feedback from people who know us or people we come in contact with. And then we have to make the decision, is there, even if they believe they're telling us the truth, are they right? Is what they're saying correct? And it can be phrased in a lot of different, so if we take this in a judgmental way, if this person was correct, then you may have overstepped some boundary of theirs. If they were simply being honest, but they are not correct, then what it is you were offering or the style in which you offered it didn't line up with theirs. And then that's a judgment-free way of saying, you didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. It just doesn't, it's like two foods that don't taste good together. Sometimes that happens. But it's always something to seriously consider when someone comes to you and says, I don't like the way you're doing things. And you have to go, should I change something? I don't know. And maybe not, but it's definitely something to think about. And this happened after the dream, so it won't be specifically related. Although you came to that conversation we were talking about the woman on the bed. So you may have a couple weeks ago been processing the idea of helping people that say weren't even aware of it. She wasn't consciously aware of your effort to restore her to a place of proper comfort where she was before. And there may be some kind of a trigger in there as well, the idea that you entering the room immediately preceded falling out of the bed. So you may have felt some, like, why do we help people? Sometimes we feel that responsibility to be of benefit to other people. So entering the room to investigate, you find someone sleeping, they fall out of the bed, and you kind of feel responsible to try to help put them back. And you go through that motion in your dream. So these are all very good things to consider. I don't know if you have additional thoughts on the whole idea.
No, it's just like, wow. I'm still like, whoa. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to endorse this person's judgment that you are toxic. I don't believe you are. But I know that there's, seriously. But I know that there's different styles, and that it's always food for thought, you know. And I've had people say in my past that I'm a little too pushy, or that rather than listening to them, I cut them off and start making suggestions. I struggle with that myself, and that's not always a style people appreciate. They, as much as I like the sound of my own voice, some people would rather.
I'm laughing because I printed out some self-help things, and
Yeah,
it's like, which is one of the questions, what character trait would you like to work on? And one thing I wrote, which you just said now, was listening and responding.
Yep, for sure.
So
I'm trying to do that too.
that.
And it, like in all seriousness, I have autism spectrum disorder, so I'm very much human. Emotions are a little bit of a struggle for me. I get it, but I don't feel it in the same way as some people. You know, yeah, it's just different levels of that. But what I really excel at is what I'm doing here. This, give me a puzzle. Oh, give me a puzzle, and I'll do it. But sometimes I'm. And there's also another thing where, like, just in my personal life, if you want me to come over and hang out and we're just going to drink a beer and sit in the backyard and talk, I can't do that. I feel so awkward. I don't know what to do with myself. But if you're like, Ben, I got a project, I'm going to build a fence. I'm like, I'm there. Let's crack a beer and build a fence. I can build a fence. I can hang out all day building a fence. And then we can socialize while that's happening. But I need a project to connect with people. And
because you can't just go and sit and look at people and just have a beer and talk about nothing. It gets boring, and you're like, that's why I stopped clubbing, because I just couldn't get it anymore.
For sure. Yeah, maybe we have some similar tendencies, and I'm not trying to diagnose you as autistic. I mean, you could be, but I'm not saying that. But there's different personality styles as well that take us in different directions of interaction. And again, they just have to fit. If there's someone I really like and enjoy, and we're friends, and I care about them, and they really enjoy just sitting and talking over a beer, I'm not going to be their best friend, because I can't do that. That's not my style. And then again, they probably don't want to get distracted by a project. They want to look me in the eye and tell me their thoughts. And I'm like, we got a fence to build.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Talk while you work. And it's neither one of us is wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like we got a whole 10-minute conversation on this idea of just putting the woman back in the bed. It's fantastic. And then it was when that was accomplished, when you had finished putting her back there, she never woke up the whole time, stayed unconscious the whole time. And then you left that room. Did you do anything else in that room before you left?
No, I just walked outside.
Okay.
Walked out of the room.
So you walked out of the room. You had finished your mission, whatever your brain was processing in that space. How did you move through the flat to the screen door in the courtyard?
It was like just right from the room, and then the screen door is just opposite, so I just like 3-meter walk and I'm at the door.
Okay, this is interesting too. Another thought came to my mind, that this entire experience is taking place in a very small space. The stairs are right there, the door is right there, the other door is right there. There isn't a long journey between these experiences. So there's something sometimes your mind puts together the idea that these are all closely connected versus distantly related. I don't know what to make of that yet, but that's a concept that jumped into mind. So where these things are in sequence and very close, that can also be kind of meaningful. So you described a screen door to the courtyard.
Yeah. And
did you ever open the screen door, or you stayed behind it to watch what was happening?
Okay. Yeah, I just stayed behind.
And that makes me think of and this is why I put another little, let's come back to this type of note here, where there's a barrier. It's not iron bars. It's not a concrete wall that you're trying to look through. It's not a tiny pinhole. It's a decently visible, you can see what you need to see, but it's there. It's a thin screen between you and what you're going to observe, and you don't actually pass through the portal. pass through the doorway to enter a new space. You're just seeing it from this vantage point. And can you give me a little bit of an idea of what the courtyard looks like? Rough size, features, plants, chairs, table. Yeah.
There wasn't any. Oh, now I remember. Like the courtyard on the other side of the courtyard. I remember seeing just a wash line, like the straight old wash line that has like the square kind of thing at the top. And then on the other side was like a servant's quarter. And I think I could see, I'm not sure, but I could sense that my partner, the father, well, I'm not married, but he's my life partner. He was the father of my kids. He was in the other room. And I could see him. So the courtyard, I think, probably maybe 5 by 5 meters. And then it had an entrance where the cubs were coming through.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I were to kind of get a mental image of it, you're standing in this doorway looking through the screen and you see, let's see, 5 meters, 15, 20 feet on a side. Yeah. Okay. And that there was on the opposite side.
Wait, 10, not 15. Double that. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, okay. 10 meters. So maybe 30 by 30 in feet.
Yeah.
Good old imperial system. We're so backwards in America, but I love it. I don't want to learn metrics. I just don't. I'm 40.
I'm not about
40 years old.
Either.
No, that's fine. We'll try to translate in our head, even if it isn't exactly 3 feet, but a meter's almost a yard, but not quite. Over a long enough distance, it's a bad measurement, but for short distances, it's fine. So I have a rough idea. It's almost basically the size of the room that I'm in right here. This is like, I think, 20 by 24, roughly. I'm just in my garage, where I got my bed and my computers. It's kind of my home office. So not big, but a decent size. And the only feature really in this courtyard are another door that's kind of like a servant's quarters, you say? And a clothesline?
That's connected to the courtyard, yeah.
Okay.
And there's light. I think he was in there, but then I'm not sure whether he was in there with someone else, as in a woman, or he was in there with just other people, but I know he was in there with someone.
So you never actually saw him or anyone else, but you had that feeling of knowing he is in there and that he's not alone in there.
Yes.
Excuse me. Okay, interesting too. And the wash line, clothesline, any clothes on it or empty?
No clothes. I don't remember seeing clothes.
Okay. And there was a entryway somewhere that the leopards came in.
The leopards came in.
And when you say leopard,
it was on the left as well.
One more time, sorry.
The entrance was on the left.
Okay, from your perspective, you're looking at that, and the doorway was straight across.
Straight ahead.
Okay, on the other side of the clothesline.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Your mind placed this object there in front of a place where someone close to you was with other people. And you had a brief flicker of concern that it might be another woman, but you weren't sure, and that didn't bother you or stay with you.
Start that nonsense again. Yeah.
Gotcha. Fair enough. And that's a real concern with relationships. Is this person? Yeah. It's something we think about from time to time. Even if you have no reason to, you can't help but have that fear. So what if something happened and I lost them? So that could be representing itself in the dream there. But is he also more sociable than you? Like he would tend to be with other people more than you are?
Yeah, I mean he would go out, I think, before, because at some point I just like to stay in the house.
Yes, me
too. And he goes out a whole lot more.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so that's interesting too, is that he would be separated from you physically in the real world and with other people, and that's kind of consistent with his behavior in real life. And that idea makes you wonder if there's a difference between you that might make him drawn to other people more than you. That there's something in there, and I wouldn't say it's like a this is the purpose of the whole dream type of significance, but why would that image represent itself in that way? But he was close by in the dream. He was still near you. He was not gone. You didn't have no thought of him. He did at least appear. And this idea of servants' quarters, of him being in there, is he very supportive? Does he kind of serve you in some ways? Not in a bad way, but how would you describe that?
It's I'm just having these moments.
Yeah.
So our relationship is such that he is an architect but self-employed, and it's not easy getting jobs done, and it's not easy getting people to pay.
Yeah.
So I am, because of my job change, I have less income, so I do expect more responsibilities from him. And I mean, we've been together for 12 years. Immediately after we met, the last year of college, actually, now that I think about it.
Interesting. Another connection.
So I've kind of, I've kind of been with him throughout his growth, and he's been with me throughout my growth. And you're young, you're starting out, there'll be a lot of issues and a lot of concerns. So only recently do we find ourselves maturing. And do I get that, okay, he is putting effort into actually supporting and sending money for the kids and doing the school fees and things like that. So yeah, like when you speak about that, we used to fight. I'm the type of person who would call 10 times and make sure you answer the phone at 1 o'clock in the morning. Wow, just to make sure.
Fair enough.
When you speak about socializing and you speak about our differences and my concerns, it really makes sense, because I think at the back of my mind, I'm also wondering, with my own growth and transition, is this the right, I don't know, is this it? Are we actually going to get married? Are we going to work? We've been together for so long. For sure.
Yeah, and the idea of having him, say, in your mind in this servant's quarters is what I don't want to do is put it like a judgment on it, like you are intending to put him there. You want him in a position of servitude to you, but there is a being of service. There's a, what am I trying to say? It's probably you are less comfortable relying on him. You would rather not need him to support you. Is that how you feel?
OMG. Yeah.
So in your mind, you've got him in this position of like, I don't want you to be my servant. That's not what I want from you, but that's where you're at right now, and I'm not happy with that. Is that making sense to you?
Yeah. It is, because I mean, I don't want to be dependent on other people when I know that there could be stuff that I can do. I know there's things that I can do to make extra, but everything is just,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's another piece of this larger puzzle we're looking at here. That's we've got putting together one little corner of those little pieces, getting them in there. And it was after getting the lay of the land, seeing the shape of the area. Not sure what to make of the clothesline. We can maybe come back to that. Maybe we'll get something from that. But then, so the clothesline, the recognition of a door across the way, the knowledge of who was there and what was basically happening, and then the next transition is that's a trigger for the leopards coming in. And when you say leopard, I want to get a good idea in my mind. I'm seeing images of a cheetah, and I'm like, but that's all I've got. How would you describe leopard?
Yeah, a cheetah and a leopard, I think the only difference is the size of the spots. Okay,
yeah. Because I think of also jungle cat leopard, like
jaguar.
a black jaguar. That's what comes to mind too.
Yeah.
Is it? So it's a large cat, but I don't know if I need to understand better than that, or if you have a better description. I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, it's just a jaguar with different size spots. A cheetah with bigger spots.
Okay.
Cheetahs have smaller spots. Yeah.
And these were cubs, you said, small?
Yeah, they were. First the cubs came in, and then the mom came in after.
Okay, and you said they kind of came in one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay, and when you say cubs, we're talking newborn, pre-adolescent.
More of the smaller like kittens kind of thing.
Okay,
like
so kind of cute, cuddly. You'd want to wrestle with them, and they probably couldn't tear your face off yet because they're too small.
No.
Fair enough. And how did they enter? Did they enter frolicking playfully? Did they enter slow, looking around?
Yeah, I think it was some of them were like I think maybe two. I'm not sure, but I sensed playfulness. Like I'm trying to recall the dream, and I sense playfulness, like just cubs being cubs kind of thing.
You didn't get the idea they were fearful of the environment. They were pretty confident, and they were looking for adventure, looking for play, looking for fun, exploring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they do anything individually or together in that space? Did they go to a particular place? Did they tumble around with each other? Did they lay down and get comfy? What did they do?
I just remembered them being at that one spot playing. Just playing around there, just like Nat Geo cubs playing around in one space. They weren't really looking around. They didn't move.
Okay, where was that space? Was it near the door, near the wall, near the
near the entrance?
So they didn't come into the very far before they kind of collapsed into a little play fighting cuddle pile.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
They just came in just short distance.
Okay, and then the mother came in, and what was her demeanor?
She was just. She peered around a bit, but she seemed, because I wasn't afraid. That's one thing I remember. I wasn't afraid. And she was more concerned with just looking at the cubs and like licking them and sitting there with them. She wasn't like aggressive. So
she engaged with them. She came in and she was a little cautious at first, and then she said, okay, this is enough. I can lay down with them, lick them, play with them. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it was almost immediately after that you woke up?
Yeah, I woke up because some woman was screaming outside.
Yeah.
But I think before I woke up, I felt as if I was about to go outside. I'm not sure if I'm making this up in my mind, but I also felt as if my skin was also becoming like a leopard, like I was transforming kind of thing. But I'm not sure about that part, but that's just the feeling I get towards like thinking about the last moments before I woke up.
Yeah. And I sincerely believe at this moment in the dream experience that if you had not been awakened, the dream would have continued. I think something was about to happen. That would leave me with a horrible frustration of what was I going to think? What was I going to experience? What was I going to understand about this? Just real quickly, since then, you haven't gone back into that same dream at all? It happens to some people, not to others. Yeah. I usually lose dreams.
I don't remember dreaming since then. I haven't remembered my dream in 2 weeks. Any dreams.
Fair enough. No,
I have a problem with that.
Oh, and honestly, I mostly wake up with no memory that I even had a dream. It just happened, and it was never anywhere close to waking up. I had no memory of it. Sometimes I wake up right in a dream, sort of, but I couldn't tell you anything more than like this image and that image, and there's no story to it. And it's extremely rare. I think 5 times in my entire life I could tell you the whole dream beginning to end. And that's less than, or slightly more than one a decade. So hopefully I'll have another dream I can remember at some point in my life. I'd love to have a guest on to interview me on my own show about a dream of mine someday. I think that would be fascinating, right?
You should.
I just need to have a dream I can remember. But I think that is important too. And I think going back to the idea of what do I think is important? That something was about to happen, that you were about to engage with this scene in some manner in a way that you felt connected to the leopards. And I wrote down as well that you've had this reoccurring theme of leopards for at least 10, 15, however long years. So that image, that animal means something to you in a specific way. Like, I won't say it's your spirit animal in that sense, but it may be in a broader sense. There's something about it you identify with. There's some way that you understand leopards, how they exist in the world and what they mean to you, that is showing itself to you in these dreams to represent something specific about yourself or about the way you look at certain situations. When you think of it that way, does anything come to mind? Like, what does leopards mean to you in general? Their characteristics.
Well, I mean,
your identification
in our culture, in our culture down here, like the leopard skin is used for royalty. Like if like for the village chief or whatever is about to be inaugurated and stuff like that, then they would use that.
Okay.
So in I think most African culture, not just here in the South, but leopards represent that. And then some people believe, because I spoke to a friend of mine, 2 people actually, they associate leopards with our traditional healers as well. Okay. So I didn't grow up in the traditional religion, like the African traditional religion. I didn't grow up 100% Christian either. So my parents didn't go to church, but they took me to church. So I don't have kind of like a religious following or belief. I don't know much about the African the traditions and like the rituals or whatever. I don't know much about the gospel. I do know that there's God, there's a universe, there's love, there's peace and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. From what I know culturally, that's what leopards mean, this side of the world.
Okay, yeah, and that can be completely sufficient in terms of, it's not like leopards necessarily have one meaning and that's the only thing they can mean, but it's more like, what do you think about when leopards come to mind? What do they mean to you? Yeah, culturally is very important. So you were talking about the idea of dressing a chief or say African king in a leopard's skin, and that would be very much iconic of, say, in the West, the idea of putting on a purple or red robe or a golden crown. They kind of represent a similar type of feeling or idea. This idea of being and then connected to that with that cultural understanding, there's also the personal understanding. So if you had a personal fascination with that animal throughout your life, has it come to represent anything to you?
I'm scared of animals. I'm not a big animal lover. I don't like going on safaris. I went on a school trip once and they took us to all these game parks. There were hippos and things like that. I don't want to be anywhere near wild animals. Yeah,
I don't think I'd want to be anywhere near a hippo either. Those are extremely dangerous. Like, you're more likely to survive an encounter with a lion than with a hippo. Oh, they're brutal.
Yeah. I just had a cat once growing up, but I don't remember having any obsession or feelings towards leopards.
Fair enough. So the understanding of it that's showing up in the dream may be most closely related to the cultural interpretation. That would mean then also this idea that you felt like you were going to join them. You were on the cusp of becoming more like them. And again, I think that relates to this idea that there's a very thin barrier that lets you see through it, but you're going to have to choose to open the door and enter the space. Are you having another moment? What is it?
I need to face my fears and get over myself. And just do it.
Maybe so. Do what? Tell me more.
Publish and edit books that people have asked me to do. I'm getting a bit emotional here.
That's okay. I'm not
So,
trying to make you cry or anything,
Yeah.
but that's go wherever you need to go with this, or tell me it's too personal and we can talk about something else. It's okay. Either way.
No, it's not too personal,
Okay.
and I'm just sensing that the only thing that's stopping me is me. Like you said, open the door and be a part of what I don't know whether it's destiny or what you feel, because sometimes you can feel like I should be doing this or I could be doing this, and then you automatically disqualify yourself
Mm-hmm.
because of maybe your upbringing or just negative vibes or feedback that you've had once or twice. And it's more like dust yourself up and just keep on going.
Yeah.
You will get there.
That is very powerful. The idea of self-doubts, of like people who say either I don't believe I am capable, that's a skill beyond me, or I don't feel I'm worthy. Like even if I could do it, I don't deserve it. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that holds people back. Yeah.
Yeah, because I hate it when people say to me, "You did a really good job." I'm like, "What do you mean I did a good job? I didn't do no good job."
It didn't meet my standard. Let me tell you what, you and I are very much similar in that way. Is I have extremely high standards even for myself, and I'm not comfortable with praise. People tell me, even with the channel, they like what I do, they appreciate it, and I am horribly embarrassed. It's very uncomfortable for people to say they like me or that they think I did a good job. I'd like, I get that cringy feeling on the inside, and and I feel terrible because they're being nice, and I want to encourage that, and I should be appreciative that they like me and what I do, and I'm like, I can't handle it. You get that feeling too?
Yeah, I get that a lot because I was invited to do a panel discussion once, and we were talking, and I just felt like I was talking absolute bullshit. And then when we got off, people were like, "You said some really good stuff." I'm like, "What the fuck did I say?"
Yeah, no, I get that too.
You know what I mean? And they're like, "We should sit down and talk." And then I'm like, "Okay, sure. Here's my number. Like, do you have a channel? Do you have a page?" No, I don't. And then they don't call me back, so I'm like, I guess that was just hype anyway. So I don't know. I don't. But
Wow.
Yeah,
we're getting a lot of really like meaningful stuff from your life. It's all coming out in this dream. And now we've kind of been doing this all the way along. My whole process went out the window. Listen again, and then interpret. We've been interpreting the whole time, I think. But to kind of bring it together, we've got from the very beginning, stairs, many other people on this maybe path to success, putting in the effort to walk up, and you get scared and change your mind. And that takes you to maybe a distraction where you're putting your effort into helping other people that aren't even aware of it. But you're feeling it again. And then it takes you out to this courtyard where you're like, maybe there's something else I need to be doing. Maybe I should take that step into personal success and to put the effort in to see what I can do. Now, sometimes, and I love this concept, is that one of the biggest things that hold us back is that fear of failure. Because if we set a goal and we commit to it, that goal is a judge. We get there or we don't. We succeed or we fail. And many times people in their lives, they don't want to be judged. They don't want to judge themselves. So they never set a goal because they're afraid of how it's going to feel not to live up to their own expectations of themselves. So I'm feeling something along those lines in there. Like there's a part of you that's really wants to give it everything. And there's a part of you that's like, I'm not sure. I'm lacking a little bit of that confidence that I can actually get this done. I don't want to fail. I don't want to feel the failure. I don't want to try and not get there. Is that looking at the whole dream? Are we in the ballpark?
I'm healing. I'm healing. I'm feeling warm and fuzzy inside.
Good.
Because that's just it. I keep putting off my French things to do other things for other people, and then they appear and they look really good out there, And because I remember I used to write for a friend of mine. I used to do her Facebook write-up. She would send me a voice note and then I'd write for her. And then I remember saying to someone else, I should do that for myself. And then I'm like, nah, but I don't have much. Who's going to listen to me? So when you talk about distractions, that's me jumping onto anything and everything that keeps coming. That's really good, but pushes me away from my ultimate goal and what I want to achieve for myself as a brand. Because I believe that as an educator, there has to be something that I leave behind. That is why I really want to get these French books out and just study material for kids, because I've seen what they've been through. And if I don't leave something in the area that I was working in for 10 years, then what have I done?
Yeah.
How would I be able to make an impact now in the arena that I've placed myself in now? So I mean, now I'm just God, I feel like I'm interpreting. So it's like finish what you started, then do what you know you're supposed to do, which is help. Before you can help other people, help yourself to accomplish your goal. Then from that accomplishment, you will then lose the fear of failure. If you just, because procrastination, when you talk about going up the stairs, going down again, not being able to push the door, going up and helping that person, that is just my whole life story.
Wow. In this one dream is really bringing it all together for you.
Yeah.
Wow. And then on the so also broad stroke. So you're experiencing a pattern in the dream in a way, and that's why I think it's resonating, because it's coming back up and again for you. So you have a moment of fear, you let yourself get distracted, but eventually at the end, you're still on that doorway, and you can take that step into the courtyard. You can join the regalness, the royalty of the leopards. Will you're not afraid of that. You feel that you would be safe and welcome there. And on the other side of that is your relationship with your boyfriend or your partner. You would have to cross the courtyard. You would have to join this space of accomplishment, and it will bring you closer to him. So it's probably a part of you that's saying, if you live up to your own potential, it's going to bring you closer to your relationship with him as well. You're having another moment. I love it. Oh my goodness.
I swear you are gifted, eh?
Well, thank you very much. I don't think I've ever had this much success in an interview.
I'm taken back to 2 years ago. Yeah. My narrative was, am I good enough? Is there someone else? What do you want? What should I do?
Yeah. And
then it changed to, okay, who am I? What can I become? And then because we go through life, we like go through these moments and depressions and whatnot. Oh, yeah. I recently just started rediscovering myself. I think 2019. That's why I say 2 years ago. The narrative changed to who am I? Or what were my dreams? And I've realized that once, I don't know how to express it, but that what you said makes a lot of sense, because in my mind, I was always afraid that he would leave me because I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And so what you just said there about me having that feeling that once I've accomplished this, then I would be able to cross over. It makes sense. I just don't know how to express it, but that's just, and it's something that I now that you say it, I've had that feeling. You know when you feel something but you don't dwell on it or you don't understand it, but now when you highlight it, I'm looking at it like literally, like,
yeah.
Like the monsters in my head have been stopping me from being more lovable to him, because I'm like, what do you want instead of who can I be?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
you just, I don't know, but yeah, it just makes sense.
This is magical. I'm having feelings too. Like I feel it here. This like I can't believe it. I get the understanding of I'm not trying to claim any magical powers, connections, or whatnot, but a lot of times I feel like it's not even me. I just have ideas. I don't know where they come from. I share them, and they help. I don't know what this is, and I wish I could make it happen on cue more often. I'm putting all my effort into trying to be this, what we're doing right here. The help that it feels like it's having for you. That's makes me want to cry.
I feel what you said about the psychology and the dream interpretation, because as you speak and as you highlight these different parts of my dream, you literally force me to face certain spaces or areas in my life that have been there in my subconscious and sometimes consciousness, but I wasn't really willing to accept and acknowledge that, girl, you need to focus. You know what I mean? You know your stuff. Just open the door and work on it.
And become that leopard. You can do it.
And become that leopard. And honestly, like, I don't know how to say this because I don't know how to express it, but I feel as if, when you have this thing in front of you, I feel like that wall is kind of tearing up, and a layer of fear is really and bits of the insecurity and self-doubt, because when you speak about those stairs and that feeling and that fear and the way you related it, it's like these are things that I don't want to face. I do not want to accept that I doubt myself. I know that I doubt myself because I don't know how. Someone said something.
That's rough. Yeah.
I'm trying to find a way to express it. You know how they say have faith,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't know if you know that, but I have faith that I am going to achieve this. Okay, you can have faith by saying it, but then believing it is another thing.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So I'm just trying to tell you that you've made me cross into the essence of whatever it is within me.
Yeah. And it's kind of a miracle of time and space and connection as well, of like, you today, now talking to me, were ready to hear certain things in a way that would not hurt you, drive you away from understanding, but that you were ready to accept and take in and make use of. That's a miracle too. That's amazing. I love that. We got you and this dream and me here together all at the same time to show you something that is I think gonna help open all kinds of doors for you. I think you're gonna take this moment and do really good things. And I want to hear back from you about that too. Like, stay in touch and let me know when you get your first translated book or whatever you're working on. I'll put it up on my post it to my social media too.
Yeah, I'll share something with you. I think that's the biggest thing as well, which I'm afraid of. I have a friend. He's made this really, really, really big artwork, and it's 9 meters. It's 2.6 tons.
It's huge.
And it's a robot statue. And he made it after watching Pacific Rims with his son.
I love those movies.
and the boy is like, Daddy, I want a robot too. So he made this and he finished it in He finished it in 2017. I met him in 2019. So I've also been kind of trying to carry this through and be like, look, hey people, we have this guy, he's a welder, he's in the village and he made this big thing. Can someone take a look at him, please. So now that you say that, I think that is also one thing that I fear, that what if I fail this person? What if I've come to this person with the hope that I can take your art out there, and then I don't do it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these are all reasonable concerns. It's reasonable to wonder whether or not you can succeed. And then important to look at objectively, look at what can you do, and then just decide if it's something you want, and you just go for it. You know, you just commit. You know what? I'm going to do this. Let's see what happens. That's been my attitude towards life. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen with this whole channel thing I made. Luckily, I have people that are happy to talk to me, and I seem to be helping them. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm doing it. I'm doing this. This is happening. So we'll see where it takes me.
And it's gonna keep happening. It's gonna go very far.
I feel good about it.
I mean, 200 people now, 4,000 in a few months. You never know.
I hope so. I don't want to be.
I think more people need to know about you and what you do, and the way you take us through our dreams and connect it to ourselves. Because in essence, people are trying and they're looking for answers everywhere in social media, especially in religion, in drugs and sex and alcohol.
Yeah.
But everything is within. And it's and I'm learning today that dreams are very important. And understanding them, it's like, I don't know. I genuinely
think so too. Yeah. I think it's that self-understanding. It's something you can't really find, as you were saying, in social media and just validation of random strangers in the crowd. It's not something you can find in drugs or sex. Maybe in religion, depending on how you do it. But only if it makes you look inside and find out the truth, number one, and then what do you want to do about it? That's what I try to start with. Just that's why I don't. I'm not here to give people answers. Like, I don't think I've told you my ideas, but I haven't told you this is what it means. I give you ideas, and if it sings in your heart, if it resonates, then that's it. If it's meaningful to you, if it helps you understand something, we both win. That's amazing. You mentioned your battery is dying. I don't want us to get cut off suddenly. But do you have more images from the dream you wanted to try to help understand better, or you think you got enough to think about for now?
Yeah, I've got enough to think about for now. Like, I'm like, yeah.
Wow. You can meditate on this stuff for all day. I would be very interested to hear if very soon you have another dream that speaks to this experience, or some of the same themes, and how maybe your understanding of it has changed. So if you keep in touch and let me know, you got the Discord, go pop in and say hello anytime, and be sure to let me know when you've got your first major project done, and I'll help you publicize it too.
No, Steph. I will definitely be in touch, and I truly appreciate your work and your effort. It's 9:28 p.m.
Yeah.
What's your time?
Oh, it is. What is it? It's almost 12:30 in the afternoon here for me in Portland, Oregon. Yeah. So I've got a long day ahead of me. I think I'm going to mow the lawn or something. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind. I got a lot of. Speaking of projects, I have too many things on my plate right now. I'm trying to make room for all of it. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up here then, and I'll find. Let me see here. So yeah, I never know how to end these things. That's become how I end these things. Is I say I don't know what I'm doing, but I will just one more time say a big thank you to our friend Boniswa from Botswana, Africa, and I love talking to you, and I appreciate you sharing your dream with us. And to everybody watching out there, hey, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. I got a podcast. I got some books I wrote, and I'm above all, thanks for listening.
Bye.